Hello, and today we're talking about the jet ferry, one of my favorite moves, because instead of me having to generate all of my momentum to ferry across current and get where I want to go, I can harness the power of the river, of a feature like a wave or simply a depression in the current or a wave hole or a hole to get where I want to go. And you can too, right? So that's what we're going to do, is focus on how to do a jet ferry, and we're going to focus on types of jet ferries. So it might be a full jet ferry all the way across the current. It could be a little boost just to get halfway across the current. You could be wanting to get a boost out and up to avoid an obstacle that's behind you that you don't want to go into, right? It's also, the jet ferry is also the beginning of learning how to front surf, how to catch a wave. So there's a lot of great reasons why you want to get proficient at jet ferrying. And we'll talk about momentum, how you don't need a ton of momentum, right? You need a lot less than you think, perhaps. We're going to talk about the stern draw and how important an effective stern draw is in the jet ferry, especially because the jet ferry requires that you do a stern draw as you're surfing across a feature, which can feel unstable, right? And we're going to talk about how to do it, when to do it, and so let's get to it. Let's just watch this in full time. So I have to jet ferry across the little wave to get to the main wave, and here's my jet ferry. Okay, now let's slow it down and break it down. Okay, so first thing is I have to actually jet ferry across this little wave first. And notice how I'm paddling, but I'm not paddling like crazy, right? I do take maybe 3 super strong strokes right here, right, to get up onto the wave. And notice right here, my upstream edge is buried, and if I don't have the wherewithal to do a big stern draw and lift that upstream edge, I would have been off. Right? So again, it does take a lot of awareness, strong core strokes with that stern draw, good edge control awareness as well. So here's more of a hole, wave hole. It jets me halfway across, and then I complete the ferry. So slow down. You see I take 2 or 3 strong strokes towards the feature. This is a wave hole. And so right here, my upstream edge needs to be lifted, and my angle can't be super upstream because otherwise I'll just turn. And so that this stern draw is super important. It keeps me from turning, and I harness the power of the wave hole. And right here, I actually flatten out my edge slightly, and that helps me maintain my angle with a good stroke across, and I can complete the ferry. And that was I had to work a lot less because I used that feature than if I had to propel myself with paddle strokes all the way across the current. So here's an example of why the jet ferry can actually be super important in class 4. This is a rapid called Dragon's Tooth on the Dry Way in Massachusetts. Right behind me is a big hole, right? This is like a hairy ferry. And I want to use this little wave to help ferry me across. It's going to make it more effective and efficient. My nerves, though, I'm nervous. And so when you watch my strokes, you'll notice that they're too shallow and there's too many of them. I'm over paddling and they don't have core. It still works out just fine, right? But it just goes to show that when our nerves take over, no matter how much experience and skill you have, right, you can still revert back to those inefficient habit patterns, which is why it's so important to practice hard moves in easy water. Like practice over-exaggerating your stern draws like this clip and a simple peel out in class 2. Right? Really getting the feel for the core. Or in this clip, practicing a very lovely little jet ferry in class 2 water, exaggerating the stern draw, feeling the water. And so one of the best ways that I found to learn how to feel the water is to practice ferries and jet ferries with your eyes closed, right? When you close your eyes, instead of intellectualizing the water, and then that allows your mind to go crazy with stories like, oh, that current looks scary. Oh, that little whitewater or wave crashing up looks scary. Instead of just focusing on your mind or letting your mind run things, when you close your eyes and practice a ferry or a jet ferry, you are actually feeling your boat, right? You're feeling the feedback from the river. Again, that goes a long way to cultivating a relationship with the river, which helps us to paddle more efficiently and effectively and have more fun. And so practice ferrying and jet ferrying with your eyes closed. Feel the water, right? And then after you do that a few times, then keep your eyes open and see if you can combine both looking where you want to go, reading the water, and feeling what's going on, feeling the feedback that the river is giving you. And that's going to go a long way to effective jet ferries and effective edge control, boat control, all of it. Balance, it's just a really great thing to practice. So get out there, practice your jet ferries, and let me know how it goes. Have fun out there.